Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Tyranny with me, Bring It On. So as I was loading into the game, I got a tooltip saying that I can use the shift key to give multiple orders in combat. It's going to completely change how I approach combat. Really excited about it. But I was playing around with it, and it looks like that haste, the spell haste, cannot stack with my main character's current stance, the blitz stance. So when I cast haste on my main character,
consider it done.
You see the haste effect here, but if you go down to the stance, it says that the minus 15% recovery time is suppressed. Even if you go to the recovery time here, it doesn't list the blitz stance. So that kind of sucks, because I was building around that, but I can always use haste on like Vampiric or somebody, and just keep using the blitz stance on my main character. Not a huge deal. Either way, let's talk to Vampiric about his armor.
Our time together has not gone to waste.
On the slightest nod of Vampiric's domed helm offers any indication that the soldier noticed your approach. Yeah, it shouldn't surprise you that Archon Tunon would not unmake what was wrought by the Overlord's wrath. Surprise, no. Disappoint, yes. The Archon's decision changes nothing. I have persevered to this point. I shall continue to do so, for the sake of General Ash and the North. There may be another way. Your master is very specific in his sentence. He forbade not only assistance from the Forgebound, but from anyone, anywhere in the world. Perhaps some other way to free you will present itself. Your optimism does you credit, Fatebinder, though I fear it is misapplied. I guess I don't normally get to use the Conquest, so I oversaw Lethian's crossing during the war. The Forgebound there know me. Knowing you and being willing to brave the Adjudicator's wrath for you are two wholly separate things. Let us leave Fatebinder. I worry that my presence offends these nobles' precious sensibilities. He bows his head to you and moves away, trailing behind him the wafting reek of a fetid privy. Anybody leveled up? Give him some more health and new talent. Let's do the sound of war. So Varric's clash of iron bolsters the strength of his nearby allies, granting them a bonus to armor for a short time. +2 armor to all of his allies, okay. What's the range on that? 10 meters, that's very generous. Alright, I can get behind that.
On it.
Let's get out of here. Oh hey, it's Bleden Mark. Oh hi, Mark. Welcome back, kid. Amusing as it would have been to watch the edict drop, I guess I'm glad you lived. Bleden Mark, Archon of Shadows rouses from a faraway stare, turning to face you with a wry smile. Though he stands still, he seems to sift in and out of the shadows that shroud him. Here you threw your rings on Graven Ash's side. Not a bad bet to pick the Archon of War. But tell me the truth. Did you go with Ash because it seemed like the right thing to do, or because supporting the Voices was a worse option? See, option 5. Do I have like a history with Bleden Mark? He did say, hey kid. And what's it to you, Archon of the Elderly? Oh, that hurts. Almost as much as getting your fingernails ripped out. No, wait. Sorry. Not even close. Were you aiming to wound me with that? Now, assuming you're off to go meet with Ash. But first, you and I need to have a little chat. I'm listening. Everyone's keeping an eye on you, because you did something nobody's done before. Got a guess as to what that might be. That's not it. Well, maybe. I don't know the history of the Fatebinders. I'm gonna say the Spire. I'm the first Fatebinder to awaken a Spire of the Old Walls. Oh, you're not wrong. That was definitely a shock. But I doubt it's the sole reason you've made the tears tremble. Proclaiming an edict isn't new. Neither is surviving or resolving the commandments of an edict. But you're the first to proclaim and resolve the very same edict, and it didn't kill you. In one fell swoop, You survived your second edict, resolved the very one you had proclaimed, and woke an arcane structure that had slept for several centuries. And now I go on your short list of people who stand out as potential problems? More or less. Mostly more. He offers you a dangerous grin. I don't care what you do with the information, but you should know the danger you're in now that you've put yourself on the map. Sticking with the disfavored is a smart idea, kid. At least smarter than getting mixed up with the Archon of Secrets. You'll never really be one of them, but if you value Ash's warriors, they'll serve you the best they can. Well, thanks for the advice. The Archon of Shadows shrugs to you in a farewell, but his golden eyes are alight with interest as he watches you. Can we talk to him? Let me save before I make a mistake. There's a reason you gaping at me like that? Sorry. There's a reason you gaping at me like I just gutted you, kid? Or do you just like to stand around and stare? That bracer you're wearing is rather eye-catching. I bet you're thinking something like it'd look even better on you. Right, kid? This? He waves his left arm in the air, examining the blacker-than-black bracer. The strapping armlet that appears simultaneously solid as obsidian, and diaphanous as a sigh. Almost a living, pulsing thing. That'd be my Binding of Shadows. Want it? You just give it to me? Why? Try it on, and find out. He grins, teeth stark, flat, and white. I like you, kid. I wouldn't steer you wrong. Okay, hand it over. With a gruff grunt and some difficulty, he ratchets the bracer off, so it is solid, after all, and tosses it to you, one-handed. Careful with it. He warns when you accept the gift. Only weapons can be double-edged swords. What? Binding of Shadows. Renown. Alright, Shade Skin, minus 10%, all damage taken. Has a little bit of... Oh, has a fair bit of armor. A decent recovery time. So Shadow's Embrace. Shift into a shadow version of yourself. While in this form, deal bonus arcane damage with each attack, and gain bonus damage reduction. These effects scale with Binding of Shadows Renown. Okay. This bracer, once worn by Bleden Mark, is made of an unfamiliar substance. Part velvet, soft darkness, and part hardened insect chitin. It is said that the darkness is more oppressive when an Archon of Shadows walks the face of Tyrannus. The magic stemming from his power draws on the substance of shadows with an air of welcome and invitation, treating the dark less as something more than an arcane force. As such, a bracer that allows the wearer to embody their darker self has overtones of danger and risk. Just looking at it too closely causes your vision to swim and sends a wave of nausea rolling through your gut. Well, it's heavy armor. I mean, 2.5 armor is nothing to shake a stick at.
I'll just hold on to this.
Alright, so I gained power as well as a new ability. Artifact abilities. Okay, once per rest. I'll play around with that, I guess. It's interesting. Alright, I do want to go back to the Mountain Spire and talk to those merchants, see what they have for sale, and sell stuff. So they're sitting on a small treasure trove of loot. Alright, Corpse Eye. Well, if it ain't the big bad boss, I'm gonna take a look at my wares. Handpicked from the finest of battlefield corpses, I can assure you. The Scarlet Chorus member's milky dead eyes roll in their sockets as he bows deeply, mocking you. What'll it be, boss? Let's see what's in stock first. Okay, so That confirms the tiers of weapons. Which I guess was confirmed beforehand, but I only seen 2 types. But now that there's a purple and a blue type. I don't see anything unique. I can sell some stuff, so let's go and get rid of that, keep those. Might not get rid of that yet. Let's talk to him. The Bloodstains add character. Come now, take a gander. What'll it be, boss? I'd like to talk. Sure, boss. You talk, I'll pretend to listen. I prefer one-sided conversations with figures of authority. Makes it real easy for me. Corpse Eye. Not really a name you come across every day. Unusual? Yeah. His eyes, cloudy and scarred, bob unfocused in their sockets, and he grins at you, revealing several cracked or missing teeth. Fitting. You tell me. You can't shake the eerie sense that despite appearances, Corpse Eye is in fact able to see. After all, didn't you recently witness him fighting on the battlefield? Regardless, he doesn't seem to find his condition at all distressing. How do you end up in this Scarlet Course? How does anyone, if not through poor luck, know what happens when the course comes a-calling at your door, and you don't open it? Worse than this. He warns, waving 2 fingers over his eyes. But I figure I've made my way of things. Working for a Fatebinder now. What finer honor could there be, right? He laughs, chokes, and knocks a glob of spit at your feet. What do you think about the voices of Nerat? If I were a betting man, which I am now thanks to the chorus, I'd put my rings on Nerat, and any churl with 2 wits about him would do the same. The Scarlet Course member shrugs. I don't fear many things no more, but he's sure one. Why do you fear him? He's got a real means of making his problems go away, big or small. You don't want to be one of those problems, boss. Don't mind your tongue. I've killed for less. And all this time I thought it was only my eyes I had to worry about. Yeah, okay. I know when to bite my tongue. Remain silent. Okay. Got a real talker in our hands, have we? No matter. I'm real good at filling silences. Corpse Eye hums to himself, off-key, one filmy eye drifting to the side as he bobs his head to the tune. So I was hesitant about hiring all these recruits to the tower. Oh, you can only have 6. I didn't see that before. Well, that'll make it a little easier to pick then, instead of just buying all of them. Why are there... Yeah, we'll figure that out later. The merchants, I'm going to save my money for now, in case I come across something that I like. I was one of the merchants in case they sold something unique. A Fatebinder. Come take a look. The dirt-caked Apex local gestures to an old box at his feet. I've got a beastman cub in here. Take a look. I doubt that very much. You step up to the huckster and peer down into the box. It's full of assorted junk, nothing more. Before you can comment, you notice him reaching for your ring belt out of the corner of your eye. Slap him. He flinches and withdraws his hand with a hurt look. Sorry about that, Fatebinder. Old habits, you know. I was only curious how much you were carrying. A merchant needs to be aware of these things before he can charge an appropriate cost, huh? That is the worst excuse. Revos at your service. I've come into possession of some items that might be of interest. He waggles his eyebrows. Are these stolen? At first he seems about ready to spout off a hasty answer, but he pauses and reconsiders. No. No in the sense that they aren't stolen, but yes in the sense that I'm not entirely... He coughs into his fist. Licensed. I think we've already read that. But wait. He puts his hands up. Before you throw me into Tunon's dungeon or worse, consider this. He spreads his arms and turns in a circle. We're not standing on Tyranny. We're standing high above any citizen who is subject to the Overlord's law. And this place couldn't possibly be subject to the same rules that govern down there. He stamps his foot and points to the land below. So I can't just throw him in prison? I guess that's... Because I would have, but I can't. I don't presume to understand Kyros' will. I need to consider the legalities. In the meantime, I'll take a look at your goods. Oh neat, so Fatebinder gear. And some magic. Okay. How's this compare to... See, that's light armor. So there's not a heavy version of the Fatebinder armor? That's dumb. So is it worth buying all of these? Don't I already have proximate action before I go buying something redundant? Sigil, let's see. Timeless form, reaching grasp, strength, precise action. Yeah, we have proximate action. So I don't need that. Vigilant Guard Wrath 3. Yes? You want something from me? He folds his arms impatiently. Have you made me anything lately? Sure did. Come right here and I'll show you. Alright, I can't grab that. So what we have for sale. Alright, let's see about grabbing some of these magic. So I don't need proximate action. We already have that. Sigil deflecting, I think, is new. Material force. Let's grab all these. That's very expensive. Is it worth it for all the magic that we don't have yet? So we can always find it later. Well, I guess I can sell it if I find it later. So you know what? Let's go and grab it. So Sigil of Phasing Accent. Let's go ahead and learn all these. Get all the Lantry. Come here. Alright, so a bunch of new magic. What do we got? Sigil of Directed Force, a Path of Frost. Unleash a jagged line of frozen spikes that jet forth, freezing enemies in their path. Directed Force, Mischievous Mass. After a wave of illusionary chaos, enemies caught in the effect have their worst fears manifested, blinding, confusing, and frightening them. That sounds pretty good. Oh, I didn't want to look at the Material Force one yet. Let's just keep going with Directed Force. Ball Lightning. Conjure a wrathful orb of electrical energy and direct it across the battlefield. The orb moves slowly, but when it passes through an enemy, it emits a powerful burst of shock damage at all nearby foes. Nothing new there. Withering Cloud. Form a noxious cloud of corrosion and decay. The cloud travels forth, weakening and silencing enemies it passes through. An AoE silence sounds pretty good. I'll keep that one in mind. Alright, on to Material Force. So Freezing Grip. Coat a target's weapon in frost, causing attacks to deal additional frost damage and slow enemy movement speed. Sounds pretty good. Be a good self buff for people. Polish Arms. Reinforce an ally's weapon, granting armor penetration to weapon attacks. That'd be good for my main character and for verse. So we'll keep that in mind as well. Static Charge. Imbue a weapon with shocking energy, granting additional shock damage to attacks and triggering electric explosions on weapon critical hits. I don't know if I'll go that route because it requires you to get critical hits where like the Frost one just slows enemies. So you get the extra effect without having another requirement. I don't like the the required crit. What else do we got? Vampiric Weapon. Be a weapon with Gravelight. Attacks with the weapon have a chance to drain health from the target to the caster. More effective against the Bane. So if you ever come to parry. Okay. I was wondering what a chance meant. So some pretty good spells there. Okay. I'm not trying to touch the sculpture. Alright, let's get out of here, I guess. Where to? So is this where... Yeah, so this is where Graven Ash is at. Let me look at my quests before I make any choices. Where is Lethian's Crossing? I have to look into that. So the meet Graven Ash at Iron Hearth. Evidence against Graven Ash and the Voice of Rot. Investigate the spires. Alright, let's look at the map again. Where to? So not the Bastard City. So we only have two choices. We can go to the Sunset Spire or to Iron Hearth. What is Sunset Spire? Oh, it's Lethian's Crossing. Whoops. Didn't mean to exit all the way out of that. Alright, let's go to, let's go to Lethian's Crossing. Built in the shadows of an old walls junction in the realm of Haven, Lethian's Crossing is a growing trading settlement. The nearby rivers are rich in iron ore, though the locals lack the technology to smelt and forge the element. In the years following Kyros' conquest of the Tears, the population of Lethian's Crossing swelled with refugees fleeing the destruction of their homelands. The presence of the forge-bound mining the iron, along with their guards, makes this makeshift settlement a vital resource for Kyros' army. In the year 429, as governor of Lethian's Crossing in Kyros' name, you granted control of the settlement to the disfavored. Alright, well, let's rock and roll. A group of mercenaries, members of the Bronze Brotherhood, are blocking the road to Lethian's Crossing. Well, that was a mistake. Let's change some spells around real fast, since I have new spells. Let's do... Only 50, so let's assign this to her. She doesn't need Frozen Grasp. And same for Barrick. Barrick I might give Vampiric Weapon, if he can use it. Nope, it's a little bit out of his range. There we go, do that instead. And then for Lantry, he needs more spell slots. That should have been what I got him when he leveled up, was more spell slots. Oh well. What am I doing? I got spells. I have a new thingy down here. Sigil Deflecting. Accidentally causes guarded form spells to reduce the damage of a target takes from her critical strikes. And Sigil of Phasing. Accidentally causes Tiratus and illusion spells to leave the target in a stasis. Okay. Do I have any guarded form spells? I don't think that I do. On my main character. He has it. He has Mirror Image. What other guarded form spells? I don't even know. See, I don't know what... I assume the stasis shield locks him in place, right? Yeah, we'll hold off on that. Alright, let's see what this encounter's all about.
I can't.
Oh, I didn't give my character a new spell. So I do think that I want this. I really like the soundtrack that's playing right now. It's very eerie. I guess instead of Charged Fist. And, can't use most of these anyway. Could do Vampiric Weapon. Oh no, not on my main character. What, let's not worry about it. I think we're good right now.
On it.
Aster and Will. You must be joking. A toll? I'll pay no such thing. I demand to be let through. Sorry, no one passes through without paying. A small figure stands before some armor-clad soldiers. His arms move wildly as he gestures in frustration, yelling at the man directly in front of him. Absolutely not. I've come through Ironhall Trail more times than I can remember. No one ever asked a toll before. For a toll before. I won't be paying one now. He notices you standing nearby and turns to speak. Fatebinder, surely you, of all people, can help me. My name is Aster, and I must get to Lethian's Crossing. I have goods to deliver. Tell this man I will not be paying a toll, to him or anyone. He is to let me through. He folds his arms over his chest, and nods with a pronounced finality. Greetings, Fatebinder. I'm sorry you have been drawn into this. What you've stumbled into here is merely a conflict of the changing times. I am Will of the Bronze Brotherhood. Ironhall Trail is under our protection, and anyone passing through must obey our rules. If this gentleman would like passage through our land, a simple donation is required. He holds out his hand. These funds help our cause and keep the Ironhall a safe place for all travelers. Clearly you both can see the value in that. Aster speaks, his arm swinging about again, emphasizing his words. And who exactly is keeping it safe? You standing there with your weapons at the ready against me? His arms drop and he turns to you again. I'm not but a traveling merchant. I have no money to spare, and I certainly pose no threat to anyone. Keep this area safe indeed. He points at Will. You are the only threat here. Fatebinder, please, talk some sense into this man. I don't know what the law is. What's Kyros' law here? Is the Bronze Brotherhood in charge of this area? I don't know what to do. I mean, I guess there's a semblance of order here. Maybe that's the path I should take. I should side with the guards. Just because you passed through before means nothing. Pay the toll now or head back. You try my patience. Alright, that was the wrong move. Alright. Aster fumes for a few moments, his mouth comically opening and closing in rage. I cannot abide this level of absurdity. He rifles through his belongings and pulls out some rings, slamming them down into Will's outstretched hand. Fine. Here's your toll, thief. Now get out of my way. He turns to you, a look of distaste on his face. I will not forget your help, Fatebinder. Will smiles and puts the rings in a pouch hanging from his neck. I knew you'd see it my way, Fatebinder. He makes an exaggerated flourish and moves out of Aster's way. And you, my good merchant, thank you for your gracious payment. You may pass. I had no idea. I don't think that... I should probably just sort of bowed out of the conflict. Will returns to his position and looks you over, his former genial mood gone. So, a Fatebinder in a little corner of the world. Who'd have ever thought this would happen? He spits between his feet, then crushes it into the dirt with his boot. Well, I appreciate your help dealing with that merchant. I'm afraid I can't let you pass until you've spoken with our leader, Raytoman. Raytoman? Personally, I thought he was crazy saying you'd be visiting Lethian's Crossing. Looks like I owe him a few rings. He shakes the pouch around his neck, making the rings inside jingle melodically. Not there's a shortage of those out here. What can this humble servant of the Brotherhood do for you, Fatebinder? Don't ask me to let you through, because that isn't happening. This ridiculous piece of mercenary offal requires a lesson in pain and obedience. Allow me to teach him. Thanks, but I can handle this myself. If you don't feel like paying the toll, I can point you back the way you came. If you need an idea of where to go, because I can't let you through. Who's Raytoman? Raytoman. Will barks out a short laugh. Now that's a question with 100 answers. Simple one. He's the current leader of the Bronze Brotherhood. If you want to know anything more, I suggest you go find him and talk to him. Current leader. Well, it's not like the leader of the Bronze Brotherhood is a lifelong calling. Will stops, his brow wrinkling. Actually, that's exactly what it is. See, if someone wants to claim the current leader's authority for their own, they can do it at any time. Of course, that means a challenge of some sort. That always ends up with the death of one or more of the participants. Raytoman survived a night in the Old Walls. That was enough to prove to most of the Brotherhood that he was the right man for the job. Where can I find Raytoman? I see him right there. He points south. He's right there, inspecting the corpses of some of Kyros' soldiers. He's bound to be in a good mood right now. He winks at you. All those dead bodies? Must be heaven for him. The color drains from his face as soon as the words leave his lips. Please don't tell him I said that. So my station means nothing. Out in the middle of nowhere? No. Your station means about as much as a whore to a eunuch. He holds out his hand, palm up, and taps his finger in the middle of it. Money is what matters to us. I'll speak with Raytoman. He laughs. I'll be counting the seconds until you return. Yeah, I think I should have sided with the merchant. I regret siding with the Bronze Brotherhood. I forgot they were the mercenary company. While you were talking to Will, a striking man with a shock of bright blonde hair approaches, moving away from some men searching bodies of slain soldiers to the south. He watches you intently as he closes, his angular features pulling into a look of disdain. And here's the Fatebinder. He doesn't mask the displeasure in his voice. I knew we'd see you. I was just wondering when. One trip to Lethian's Crossing wasn't enough, Governor. So, let's see. The Bronze Brotherhood were the original protectors of Lethian's Crossing. Okay. Yeah, definitely should have sided with the merchant. Whoops. The Bronze Brotherhood were the original protectors of Lethian's Crossing. They passed control over to Kyros' forces and stayed as retainers. Every time they proved too disorganized to keep the peace, he handed the settlement over to the disfavored, trusting in their discipline to maintain order. The Brotherhood mercenaries consider this a slight on their lawful claim. He doesn't even mask the contempt in his voice. You had to return where no one asked you to come. Throwing me out of my home wasn't sufficient. Are you here to disrupt my life some more? He looks at his men, who stop to watch the conversation. You aren't done. He flicks his hand at them, and they return to their searching. It doesn't really matter why you're here. I don't care. I have more important things to worry about. In case you've forgotten me already, my name is Raytoman. I am First Brother, leader of the Bronze Brotherhood. But I'm sure you already know that. I couldn't help but see you over here, talking to Will and that traveling merchant. Only here for a moment, and already sticking your nose where it doesn't belong, aren't you? I don't appreciate others invading my territory, Fatebinder. I told him he had to speak to you, Raytoman. He wanted through, but I told him no. If you don't give me the signal, the Fatebinder isn't getting into Lethian's Crossing. No one will invade your territory. Raytoman stares at Will for a few moments, lips pursed, then continues as if Will never spoke. Watch yourself while you are a guest in my land. If you've come to stir up more trouble, we're well equipped and will not back down in the defense of what is rightfully ours. He sweeps his arms in front of him, gesturing to the surrounding countryside. Welby and I might not always agree, but that is one point we see eye to eye on. If you step out of line, we will both correct you. His eyes narrow, and he leans toward you. You are not welcome here. Now tell me what you want or leave. We will speak again soon. I certainly hope that isn't the case.
Right.
Let me finish exploring this area real fast. Less residual of cyclical energies. Reduces the cooldown of spells. Oh, that's really handy. Alright, I'll play around with that probably off camera. Yeah, so to finish mapping out this area, see if there's any hidden items laying around, and then we'll call it an episode, and we'll talk to Ritaman and Welby in the next one. Yeah, I really should have sided with the merchant, because I don't think the Bronze Brotherhood actually have the right to toll this area.
Sorry, I can't.
I think they're parasites right now, because we kicked them out of Lethian's Crossing.
Can't do that.
They won't see me coming.
Alright. I'm going to call it here. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.